Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya 'alal salah. Hayya 'alal salah. Hayya 'alal falah. Hayya 'alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa uminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Arsalahu bil huda wa dinil haq liyudhhiruhu ala din kullihi walau karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life, known as Islam, will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوازموها وشير الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما الأمن دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما أتباع وشير أما الكعب. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring a degree of will and determination. Worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa-ita'i dhil-qurba wa-yanha anil-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idukum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin, and He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يَرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَدِيَهُ يَشْرَ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi وَالسَّلِيمُ تَسْلِيمًا. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, and this is from Surah Taha. Well, Surah 20, it's something we've read before. Said Musa, O my sustainer, open up my heart to thy light, and make thy task easy for me, and loosen the knot from my tongue, so that they might fully understand my speech, and appoint for me out of my kinfolks one who will help me to bear my burden, Harun, my brother. Add thou through him to my strength, and let him share my task, so that together we might abundantly extol thy limitless glory and remember thee without ceasing. Truly, thou seest all that is within us, said he. Thou art granted all that thou hast asked for. Now the first questioning is Musa alayhi salam asking Allah for certain things. And now this is the response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, thou seest all that is within us. This is still Moses. He said, thou art granted all that thou asked for, O Moses. And indeed, we bestowed our favor upon thee at the time long since past, when we inspired thy mother with this inspiration. Place him in a chest and throw him into the river. Thereupon the river will cast him ashore, and one who is an enemy unto me and an enemy unto him will adopt him. Thus early I spread my own love over thee, and this in order that thou might be formed under my own eyes. And thou wert under my eye when thy sister went forth and said to Pharaoh's people, I shall guide you unto a woman who might take charge of him, so that we return thee unto thy mother, so that her eye be gladdened, and that she might now know sorrow any longer. And when thou camest of age, thou didst slay a man, but we did save thee from all grief, although we tried thee with various trials. And then thou didst sojourn for years amongst the people of Midian. And now thou hast come here as ordained by me, O Moses, for I have chosen you for my own service. The reason this is so important now, this is one of my personal best, if there's such a thing, in the Quran, because, okay, in this case, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about Musa alayhi salam. Now you have to remember what we have said all along, that our guidelines is Quran, Hadith, right? History and our own experience. Our own experience, the experiences we've had. That's why when they tell us about some big sheikh floating in from overseas, we relate to them the Quran, Atiullah, Atiya Rasul, wa ulul amr minkum. Obey Allah, obey the messenger and those charged with authority from amongst you. People got it bad telling the Negro that he is not one, not only worthy of being followed, that he lucky to come into the arena of the learned, the big ulama, and those type of people. And the only thing that's bad about it is the Negro began to believe it, and when he believes it, he acts on those things. That's why you see people leave here and run over to another masjid. They'll leave the school that we had here, go over to another school where their children are called niggers. Because our children usually, you know, we don't act like that. We just go jump up and down, throw stuff. They had at our school, they had a little guy, good guy, clean and all, and he would ride the metro, so he had a little butter knife type thing in his thing. And the teachers here wanted to suspend him. No, expel him. You can't come here no more. I say, he had a little, I was here to ride on the metro with niggas, real live niggas. And he's clean cut looking, right? And you know, the coons are not going to understand that type of person. So he just got a little knife, and that's intelligent, right? That's intelligent. And I told them, I said, don't you remember when we started the school, I said myself, I want to have a school that I would be comfortable in, which I was kicked out of all the schools I went to. So we got to have a high standard of tolerance and patience. Of course, most of y'all was kicked out, sent one school to another yourself. You know what I mean? Then they just used to send you to one school to another. Now they dope the poor little kids up. But they giving kids little kitty Thorazine, Prolixin type dope. This is insanity. But anyway, so the people were talking about how little we contributed to the school. There's one person here now that was good physical instructor and all that. The kids were in shape. Now the kids, when they left this school, I know my daughter that got into one of the best, when she went over to Thurgood Marshall, she was on the debating team, everything they had, and got all kind of scholarships to go up to them, not Wesley Brown, or one of them little girls' schools, and got, you know, and that's where they're going. All the children that was in this school, when they go to them dumb schools out there, they're all straight A students. Not one of those parents ever come back here and say, hey man, we appreciate what y'all did over there. Even the teachers don't come back, although the teachers were paid a salary. Now there are some people here who wasn't paid no salary. They're never mentioned. They act like that they committed a crime. It's no big deal that if you have to hustle up salaries. Now you just kind of think of it here. If you had a school going 10 years, and let's say $4,000 a month, that's generally, which is not nothing for people out there to have a job. But if you ain't ever had no job since 1966, to hustle up $4,000 per month, 10 years, you're talking about $400,000, right? Because see, the teachers don't have, the students don't have the money all the time. The parents don't have the money. Now the teachers wanted to, if the parents couldn't pay, they got to kick out. It's the middle of the school year. You can't, just because a kid got dumb parents don't mean that they got to suffer. They're excellent students, right? That home study program we was using was excellent, right? So the point I'm making is our school produced the best children in the region. When they go anywhere else, they're years ahead of everybody. A minimum of 2 years. They say, y'all still study that? This is true. Okay, but we don't have, or we didn't have school based on the ability of the parents to pay. We didn't say that because people kind of voluntarily run out of money if you say, well, we ain't going to do this or we ain't going to. But we wasn't going to do that. Everybody else wanted, no, if they can't. And they was acting in our school like white folks. I say, well, this kid, he brought a little, this is a real butter knife here. And he had a little argument. And now in the white folks' school, I said, it's a little butter knife. He just hollering at one of the kids. I said, this isn't normal, right? In your household, don't your brothers and sisters holler at each other? And they might be having the other one on the run for a while with a knife, right? Or a chair, right? In the family. They love each other, right? Did you ever fight with your brothers and sisters? Did you ever pull a knife? Of course you did. Everybody pulled a knife, right? On their dear brothers and sisters. So if a guy have a real butter knife, the round kind, we're going to expel him. I said, no, we're not going to expel him. In fact, they kind of, not that I'm running things, but they removed me from leadership. They said, okay, that's fine. They didn't say we don't want you doing nothing. But they was bringing the kids in our little office back there, and the kids was coming in. I'd take them riding around, we'd get ice cream. They bring them in for discipline. And I was thinking, like any fool, if I was a mess up in school, which I was, the number one, what would I like for the principal to do with me? Well, take me around, get me some ice cream or something. So that's what I was doing in school. So they stopped bringing the kids to me. I was disciplining them. They didn't mess up no more. I just ride around, we just talking and ice cream and stuff. I said, now you kind of, give the people a little break and that's fine. And they would. But they didn't they wanted me to holler at the kids. And you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna burn in the middle of the fire, this is hypocritical, right? So I drive around, we go down to the ice cream joint, get some ice cream, and they come back, never no problem again. It was the psychological problems the teachers was having, because they went to white folks' schools. They wanted us, why would we have a Muslim school running it like a white folks' school? Right? I mean, why would we? Education is fine. But why would we have an environment where our school is like white folks' school, except we mumble a few religious passages from time to time, right? Which the kids don't ever remember, right? Okay, point I'm trying to make is, I started with this ayat because I want to talk a little bit today about what is our picture of the world and how do we see ourselves in it. I read this because this is an ayat I like. It's for me. Now, I'm talking about I read it for me, but I'm talking to you. I am talking technically to you about your life, about your experience with the Quran, about your own personal experience with the Hadith. Because for me, I don't need, this is it for me. Because this is Musa alayhi salam, he's getting a mission. And we're always talking about a mission. We're talking about goals. We're always talking about goals, you know. So Musa alayhi salam is asking Allah. Now he done already got back from Midian, where he's been for quite a while. And Musa alayhi salam had a murder beef. Oh, he was a prophet. He didn't have, well, what did he, didn't you kill one man? Now you didn't kill another man, right? First one they overlooked. Why did he leave? Because he got a murder beef. Isn't that what the Quran says? Oh, it don't say that? Well, maybe we better read it again. Did Musa alayhi salam, or did he not have a murder beef? And that's why he had to get out of town the first time. Because there were some people amongst Pharaoh that liked him, and they said, man, they hooking up, they got a warrant for you. They got the SWAT team coming, Pharaoh's SWAT team, right? They're going to be there in a hot minute. So whatever you do, so he was gone, right? This is what the Quran experience is not different from our experience. We just reading it wrong. We reading it like a bunch of old floaty people floating around here trying to get us to think that, number one, your environment is, you're not qualified. They leave the Negro school, go over to the immigrant school, and our kids, and they call them technical niggas. And they pay 3-4 times the money, because definitely the immigrants. And then the Negroes that you see over there, role models. Think about anywhere. What are the Negroes doing? They leave here, and the Negroes, right, with this College Park at that time or wherever, the Negroes were driving the buses and sweeping up all the time. That's not bad. We all do it here. Anybody in leadership, first thing they get is a broom and stuff. We don't mind, but we sweep it up in our own place. And if we go somewhere else, we wouldn't mind helping them clean up too. We did it in security, everything. But the point is that you're not going to volunteer, like they said, if black people didn't have a back door to a place, they would make one. You're so used to going in the back door. In this case, our hero, Musa alayhi salam, through signs, all of what Allah wanted, he has figured out his mission. And he got what Allah trying to tell him. He didn't pick that up. He got that clear. So he asked Allah, "O my sustainer, open my heart, open it." Actually, as we said before, Musa alayhi salam stuttered. So he wants Allah to give him his brother Harun, who is eloquent, right? So this is what he asked for. And I say you got that covered. Everything that he asked for, make it easy on me. Make this struggle, this is a big deal. Now you got to remember how big a deal this is. He's got to go to the biggest power on earth, who has subjugated all the region. Right? And he's got to tell him, hey, you got my home folks in there working hard for the last 400 years. I want you to cut them loose. If you ask the slave master over here, let the Negroes go, did he let them go? No. The bloodiest war fought in America. The most people lost in a war in America was the Civil War. Not World War II and World War I, right? They lost over 675,000 people dead in America. They was knocking over in Gettysburg, they knocked over 50,000 people, right? Some of the battles all around here, Manassas, right out there, Bull Run. You see it when you're driving around, Bull Run. They knocked over thousands of people. Right around here, what was it over? It was over slavery. Can you imagine a Negro going to Jeff Davis in 1862 and tell him, Mr. Jeff, you got 4 million of the people down here picking cotton, and I mean not easy cotton, you picking them from sun up to sundown. From, as we used to say, can't see in the morning to can't see at night. What would Jeff did? He did the same thing he told the white folks. You gonna free the niggas? We're gonna fight to the death. When they gave up, hey man, when they surrendered, they were starving to death and raggedy. They fought till their fingernails wouldn't grow to keep me and you in slavery, right? So, what do you think Pharaoh's idea? Hey man, all the people doing all the work, why don't you just cut them loose and let us go anywhere we feel like it. He looked at him like he was crazy. Now, Musa alayhi salam, as the Quran say, when his mother put him in the basket, he was picked up by somebody who was his enemy and Allah's enemy, right? This is what the Quran says. Okay, so when you go to tell a big power something relative to truth and justice, you have an outline of what you're going to be dealing with. That's what the Quran is all about. That's why all the missions of the prophets was a very serious mission. So some people will tell us, and in discussion, innocent discussion, man, we've been talking to the Negro, man, for 25 years, and he ain't budging. He's getting worse. So, so what? Noah was with the Negro of his day 950 years, and he still, when the flood came, his son is telling him what? Come on, boy, don't you see all this water? So his boy is climbing up a mountainside. No, I'm going to get away from all this. So boy, don't you see, it ain't but 2 or 3 more little pieces of stuff to get on to. You better get on the boat, man. No, just like our children tell us. You just an old fuddy and you don't know nothing no way. You ain't got no sense. You know what our children tell us? That stuff is old-timey you're talking about. After they get burned 10,000 times and have kids of their own, you know what they tell their children? Exactly the same thing our parents told us. What did our parents tell us? The same thing the grandparents told them. It's the experience of life, right? That helps shape and mold you. What we want to talk about a little bit today is things that are automatic. If we are to be involved in the transformation of America itself, right, of the world itself, then we have certain expectations, right, of the world and how the world is going to react. Now, the Quran is clear. The reaction to the prophets is the same over and over again. The results is the same over and over again. And in the whole Quran, there's only one people, right, that was, punishment was held up. They went to 100,000 people or more, people of Nineveh, right? And that was for a time. Nineveh is Babylon, right? And Babylon took a dive. It's in the Bible. Babylon the Great has fallen. We used to call America. Remember you old timers? What do we call America? Babylon. What do Jamaicans call America? Babylon, right? But for a while it got a reprieve. Nobody else got no reprieve. Why? Because they kept on acting the same old fool that they was been acting. America, the Zionists, the Israelis, the Western powers will continue, right, acting the way they've always acted. Why? Because history proves it. Remember, if you think about, they used to have a saying in history, all roads lead to Rome. Why? Because Rome was the imperial ruler of the world. So basically all roads, this is what white folks say, led to Rome. 100 years ago, a little more, Greenwich Standard Time and all that, when they standardized time, banking and all of that, where did they do it? London. Why? Because at that time, the British pound was the strongest, right, money and currency, and the British Empire reigned supreme all over the world. The sun never set on the British Empire, right? Okay, therefore, that was the standard setter of the whole world. All roads lead to Rome. At another time, standard time, everything is set by Britain, by London. Then, post-World War II, the UN is in New York. The UN is founded by, why? Because America helped shape, fashion, and design the defeat of Japan and of Hitler in Europe, right? Not they didn't lose, they didn't fight harder than everybody else. Technically, the Russians fought harder, and they lost more people. They lost between 20 and 50 million people in Russia. The Russians really fought in World War II, right? The Americans did a little bit, but they didn't fight harder. They didn't fight harder, but they reaped most of the benefits. So that was a time everything was filtered through America and New York. If you go to New York, if you go to China and other places, you'll see the most modern buildings you've ever seen in your life. Overseas. If you go to New York, you see buildings from 1920, the Empire State Building, 1931. You'll see other buildings, 1940s, 1950s. You don't see but one or two in the whole New York City modern superstructures, right? Why? It's because the heyday of Sam is gone. He's already past his heyday. But at that time, the Islamic transition is happening all over the world. It's hitting everywhere. I don't want to stray from the subject, but I don't care where you go. If you go to the UK right now, Great Britain, it is inundated with people that came from all over the world. Jamaica, right? The other African colonies, all of them in London, in Europe. Cities like Birmingham, Manchester, they have a Muslim population. Half of the place look like India. in other places. In London right now, the churches have been closing down for 30 or 40 years. What are the churches turning into? Masjid, right? Europe that came over here, slaughtered all the people, took all this land. And no matter what it did, it just kept on going. No matter what it did, don't care how brilliant you was. You know, they talk about some of the great tribes, Chief Joseph and those. He was one of the greatest generals in modern times. How he fought against the Americans, Nez Indians down over in Oregon, Willamette Valley. Beautiful over there. I gave many speeches in that University, Oregon, Eugene, and all. It's beautiful. They took it from them, put them on reservations, like the rest of the thing. No matter what the people did, they couldn't defend themselves from European aggression. All over the world. Don't talk about Africa. They came in the great colonial period, 1889 and 90. Can you imagine the British and the Americans that invented the Gatling gun, a machine gun. The British had a Maxim gun, machine gun. And people, Montebello land and other places like that, they had spears and they had cloth, lion cloth, leopard cloth, spears. And they fought them crackers hard. They got mowed down, right? So the great West spread all over the world, its language, its culture, everything. And that is the qadr of Allah, just like it says here to Moses. Now here you are, I brought you up under my own eyes, what Allah said. And now here you are according to qadr. It says in here, English, destiny, qadr. Here you are according to destiny in my service. Because I brought you up for this. I hooked you up for this. Allah have given all of us a destiny. No. Possibilities for destiny. Allah know what you're going to do. Allah know everything you're going to do in your life. Right? You're not going to surprise Allah by, I'm going to take the right road. It's not going to be a surprise. Allah know what you're going to do. But destiny does not mean you have to do that job. You don't have to do it. You choose. That's how you go to heaven and go to hell. You choose. It's a choice. I make a choice to do this or that. When I get to the crossroads, I'm making a choice. Now Allah, they figure that destiny is fixed because Allah Allah knows what you're going to do. Allah got to know. Allah cannot know. You can't give a negative attribute to Allah. Well, Allah didn't know, but the white folks do. You know. And Greeks, you know, God getting mad and getting drunk and all that. They got some serious gods, them people. No, they're getting jealous. I'm a jealous God. This is the Bible. Have no other God before. How Allah created everything gonna be jealous or something? This is insanity. But they say it anyway. No, when they say it, they believe it. But this destiny, this choice that you make will determine where you're going after this period. How you know, forever. When we leave here, wherever we go, we're going to be there forever. I know it's kind of hard to get your mind. I've been trying for years. Forever? How can I get it? Is that like 1,000,000,000 years? 1,000,000,000,000 years? 600 trillion, quadrillion years? Forever. No end. Me and you are here. We ain't going. We might be moving around a little bit, but we're here now. We are here. We are alive. We are conscious. This body is going to become some different body because this body cannot stand the life to come. This body can't stand paradise. It's too nice. Right? Remember, in heaven, you're going to get high. They say they're going to be drinking, but it ain't going to be no hangover. You know what I mean? So you're going to be getting high. You're going to be high all the time anyway. In heaven. That's what the book says. You don't read it like that because you think getting high is bad. Yeah, getting high off heroin and cocaine is bad, but not getting high off good. In paradise, that's what Allah say. You're going to be hooked up. The well of Zalzabil or Zanzibar, one of them. You're going to drink from there and, boy, this is all right. You're already going to be high. This is what it says. Now, you can say that I'm over here lying and making up stuff if you want, but you know that's what it says. It's just that you got an old immigrant interpretation of Quran instead of your own understanding. Remember, Quran, Hadith, Sunnah, right? Then experience, or history and experience. That's what the Quran says. Traveling the earth will see what was going on with everybody. Traveling the earth that you make. So that's telling you not only travel the earth, but study the history of all people. Right? And Allah says in in Hadith, I am to the believer as he expects of me. Right? Allah saying he is to you as he expects. What we expect. Oh, Allah just hooked me up with a little job. You know what I mean? Getting a little hungry every now and then. Telling people stop laughing at me and stuff like that. That's all you ask for. That's all you're going to get. Because that's what you expect of Allah. Allah going to give you. But now, you can't ask for nothing. Nothing. It says if Allah were to give each person on earth 7 heavens and earth, or 7 creations. Now that's pretty big because since we don't know how big this thing is, right? If you travel for 200 light years to get somewhere, 1,000 light years, and it's kind of hard to figure out how far that is. Since 1 light year is 186,000 miles per second times 60 minutes times 24 hours. That's starting to add up. That's 1 light year. That means if the sun is 93 million miles away, the sun only, the light that comes traveling 186,000 miles per second, that's 93 million miles away. That's a pretty good distance. You try to walk that far and see how long it's going to take you. 93 million miles. How long it take light to get from the sun to here? 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Finished. That ain't a light second. That's just a few seconds. And all of that developed, controlled, managed by Allah. What are we going to do in this infinite? If Allah were to give us 7 heavens and earth, or 7 creations, all of our own, it wouldn't mean nothing to Allah. Allah wouldn't get no bigger, Allah wouldn't get no smaller. And it says if all the heavens were all the earth with trees was pins, and you were to stick your, you know what I mean, your finger and write with one of them trees, it would be the same as you sticking your finger, well, since we're on this side, the Atlantic Ocean. And the water that adheres to that, let's just say it's nothing, because it's less than that. So the question is, we'll try to get back to us. We've told you many times, and I know you get tired of hearing it, but there's a global Islamic revival going on. And for America, and for a lot of the world, the center of it is D.C. and Oakland, California. It don't make no difference whether you like it or whether you believe it. We didn't show you enough evidence and enough lectures and all of that to prove it. But what brought this back to mind was yesterday, I went to the bank. And I remember the Bank of America took all the money out of all of our accounts, took our name off the accounts, and put the name of the people on the accounts that's causing all the trouble. And they said, well, forget about if you go to the state and you'll see the founder of the corporation, nonprofit corporation, and the name is still in my name. If you go and you see the board of directors, right, in another office, it's still my name. And I go back and hook the board of directors up almost 2-3 times a year now, because the Negro goes in and put his name on there. Because it's a good faith thing. And then the Negro goes out and wrote a little note saying that we had a meeting. And these are minutes of a meeting. That's like if some Negroes come here and sit down for 2 minutes, then they go and they done stole all your paperwork, and they go down to the bank and they say, we the new board of directors, so take that person off the account. That's illegal. But if the bank is in cahoots, right, with the United States government, if the bank is in cahoots with the government, then they will collaborate with the government. Now, what my friends tell me, see, I've been banking a long time in California, and in Wells Fargo and this other one, you know, I was banking in the bank when I was a big Negro, and had big money, and I used to have to bank people to help out a little bit, and now them people retired from the bank. This is way back when. So there's people in the banking industry that can get you a little information. The information comes back like this. It's one or two things going on. One is that the government have told, that's the Treasury Department, tells the bank. See, now you got, first of all, remember, the bank don't need your money now. Remember in the old days, you used to put your money in the bank. The bank would loan that money out. They would give you 5% interest or something. Then they would loan it out at 10 or 15% or more, something like that. And they would make money off the interest of your money. But now the Federal Reserve gives them money at no cost. That's why if you notice that you don't hardly get no interest in the bank anymore. Because the bank technically don't need your money anymore. Because the federal government is giving the bank money at no cost. And now you have to pay sometimes to have an account in the bank, right? What we're saying is the new mumbo-jumbo with money has turned upside down. So the federal government and the NSA and all these apparatuses now, under the guise of terrorism, have all types of access to money transfer of money, and all those things. So now you can see the NSA, National Security Administration, working with the bank. No, the bank is working with them. And they will tell them, this is illegal, whatever you have. If this comes out, don't worry. If it costs you $50 million, we'll pay it off for you. We'll just print up $50 million and give it to you. That's all it is printed, right? So the bank is going to follow that. Plus, you don't know how the new guidelines of NSA, FBI, National Security Administration, the power that they have gained over the people. So when they use that against you, they are actually, in one way, they didn't set us up to sue the bank and we'll sue them for $10 million or what have you. And we'll sue them when we get ready, not when they want us to do. Remember, don't let nobody manipulate you and engineer you. We call it shaping and hurting. That they do things to you and shape your behavior. Then there's another statement that says, just like there's people in NSA, FBI, and all of that, they, you know, you take 10% of FBI, 10% of, all of them are not dogs. Some people in the FBI believe in the Constitution. Do you know that? I'm telling you, it ain't no 90%, but 10%, I always said 10%. Just like in Moses' time, people that was hanging out, this has happened throughout history. How do you think Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got information from all of the Quraysh, what they getting ready to do? Because there's people in the Quraysh, cousins, friends, everybody, all right? If you live long enough, you're going to have relatives and friends in all institutions, dear believers. All of y'all do now. All of us have relatives in some of these big-time white folks institutions. The next thing is some of the people don't want to be oppressors. Some FBI to kick in people's door and oppress people, they don't like it. You know why? They read the Constitution and they're suckers. They believe it. They believe American Revolution, beat the British, freedom, Bill of Rights. Some of the people in the government really believe it. They're called true believers in every group. Some of the people who are communists really believe communism. Some of the people who are Muslims, most Muslims are different. Almost all the Muslims believe in Islam. They believe in Akira and all that. That don't mean they're going to act on it. Okay, but I'm trying to tell you, when you do the right thing, when Allah says in the Quran that He will help you from avenues that you don't know, and He provides for him from sources he never could imagine. And if anyone puts his trust in Allah, sufficient is Allah for him, for Allah will surely accomplish His purpose. Truly, for all things has Allah appointed in due proportion. That means Allah will provide from you ways, help, and assistance that you don't have anything about, know anything about. The basic thing that I'm trying to say is, right now, we're in a big struggle. The Muslim majority in America are afraid of the reality. They even think about what they're up against. They get scared. But if you follow Quran and Sunnah, it tells you not to fear men, to fear Allah. But the Quran says in some cases you feared men as though you should have feared Allah. Now, in Musa alayhi salam's case, he had to go up against the global power of its day. Okay. In our case, we have to go up against the global power of our time. And international kufr is different than in the old days. In the old days, it was regional kufr. Now it's global kufr, international kufr. They are all over their parts of the world, and they have snitches and stooges in each and every one of our countries collaborating with them. Right? Just like each and every one of our groups and organizations are thoroughly integrated and associated with the West. They have people within every group and every organization. But when Allah changes the direction of things, it don't matter what they got in place. When Allah changed the situation for Musa alayhi salam, Pharaoh was finished. He didn't get the idea till the last minutes. He's going around in the water. And some say he repented. It's a little late now. You know the hadith says you can repent up to you, the death rattle. If me and you fighting, you're a believer, and I'm a non-believer, and we just tussling, I say I believe. That's all right. But if you cut my throat and blood is running out of my throat, it's a little too late. All the blood is there. That means in 30 seconds you're going to die, homeboy. It's a little too late. The death rattle, clear death is on you now. But if you repent 30 seconds before the slash, you home free. This what old Pharaoh didn't know. Yeah, man. I'm circling around in the water. I believe now. Well, you definitely circling around in the water. A little too late, home. A little too late. What I'm trying to say is, if we accept our destiny, if you accept your destiny, I'll tell you, for me, reading this ayat, I've already accepted what I want to do. It ain't something I gotta do, it's something I get to do. Everybody would say, man, you talking to them white folks all the time. They stealing your money, knocking you upside the head, dragging you around in the police station, and 10,000 other things. And you talking about Islam, man, you ought to. Now, to them, it looks horrible, right? But it ain't horrible to me. This is what I asked for, right? As we say again, it's about optimism. It's not something you got to do. It's something you get to do. I get to talk bad to the white man. Nobody else can. Who else you know had a program called How to Punk the FBI? In the whole country, nobody. The Mafia, the Black Panthers, nobody had a program, a simple program called You Bunch of Punks and Sissies. You girlified. Who done told the DC police you need a sex change? And that's what the thing said. Well, it said sex change. It says you mess with sisters, our sisters, and so you acting funny, and you ought to get hormone therapy. And we pass it out right down there to DC police. Nobody said nothing. Of course, the next time they get hold to you, they kind of work you over a little bit, but that's part of your job. Right? That's part of your job. When you got knots on your head and everywhere, a kid said, Daddy, you got all those knots back there. I said, that's the white man knocking your dad in the head, all beating you up. That's what they did, right? So if they do it when you get grown, you said getting knocked upside the head and drug around the police station ain't nothing. But I want to get back to a point. If we struggle in the cause of Allah, there are people inside of the system itself that believe in truth and justice. Everybody works in the system have to swear, I swear to uphold the Constitution, this, that. In the United States, if you're a federal employee, if you're the state of Maryland, swear to hold upon the Constitution, state of Maryland, plus the U.S. Constitution too, in case anything happens. Right? Right? You have to. It's an oath. It's an affirmation. You have to do that. Do you know that some of the people believe that? They believe it. If you have people inside of that system going outside of the system over and over again, somebody in the system gonna start dropping stuff around. That's where all these little leaks come from. Some of them are government planted leaks, but some of them are people from inside the system that don't like. They said that's not what they fought the revolution for. Right? They're good people. There are good people in every system. Whatever your job is, and if it's a big one, people gonna recognize you and your job. The bad ones gonna work on trying to get rid of you in a hurry. But there's a small minority that's gonna be throwing stuff your way. You ain't gonna know, how did I get out of that? Well, you know it's Allah, but you're always trying to trace things back to human stuff. How did I beat that thing? I ain't snitching, so it couldn't have been that. Well, how did that happen? Right? How they lose all the evidence? How they lose evidence and they got all the evidence all locked up and everything? You know, why the Negroes in California stealing money, coming up? You know the Negroes in California, they say, well, Imam Musa, this is Musa, you have stole a believer's money. Now you're trying to say something. Now, people here know about money. There's a couple of people here that don't get no salary. They never got no salary. Personally, when we bought this building, we had to raise a lot of money to fix it up. I lived in that office back there with my family. They wasn't all that happy about it. But we lived in that office back there. It is 11 by 18. And that's where we lived. And then we had a little upstairs. Everybody slept up there. We lived there. Why? Because I didn't want to pay no money out. I wanted to save money. Do you know that all the property, I'm just saying this so you know, but see, you have to tell people because this DVD is going out to Oakland. We're going out to Oakland in a minute. We want the people of Oakland to know a few things. Because them Negroes out there get to talking. They get to not talking, they get to lying. And most of the people there are police. So the police back them up, right? It's only the people that's not the police that wait. You said Big Hank stole some money from you? Well, here he bought everybody Cadillacs 40 years ago, so when he starts, Islam made a thief out of him, huh? So they don't believe him. You know, we sent from D.C. to Oakland about $40,000 in fragrances. And all the books they had, they never paid for them because I would order them. And I would send them to them, or order them and have them send them to Oakland direct. Now with books, when I came here, when I left Oakland in '89, I left basically no money, but a little station wagon full of books. We went up to a program in Canada, sold $1,800 worth of books, came straight to D.C. and stayed. And sold the books and got to ordering books. And we went out to Alauco and we said, this is the biggest book dealer in town, so we want to be like that. You know, if you want to be rich, you go to the richest guy in town and say, well, I'm going to copy this guy, right? So if I copy him, I'm going to be the richest, second richest guy in town, or maybe might catch him, right? So within a year's time, we had bought property around there. We had paid for it. We had paid for the remodeling of it, right? By '92, which is 3 years later, we buy a lot next door. Then we buy a lot, all of it from books. And if y'all remember the Masjid over there, the books started stacking up and spreading out all to the roof, and we traveled all over the region selling books. Pretty soon we had caught halal. Although the Negro wouldn't come by enough, they'd go out to halal, but we had books. And halal used to get books from us, because we had some of the same connections overseas. They say, you got into such and such, you got a show. And we could go over there and we get books at a discount, because they can get books to us at a discount. Only thing, when we got books, we paid for them. When they got books from us, they say, can we pay you in a month or 2 months? Sure. I'm telling you, when you got a vision, you can get big in a hurry. That's the only thing, is that pretty soon, when we bought this masjid, we bought most of this mostly off of books and fragrance. Plus, if any of y'all was in the penitentiary, you know we sent y'all tons of stuff for free. And in Lawton, we used to go out there to Occoquan with a dolly. Boxes of books, boxes of oil, and since I was a prison worker, like, you know what I mean is, you know, I had a little ID say I'm here to help the brothers. Tons of oil, I mean boxes of oil, you know. You can make thousands of dollars worth of that off that oil, especially in the joint, and it ain't no cut on it or nothing. Hey man, they was rolling. That's what I could acquire. Free Bukhari, all of that. We just gave to the people in prison. Free. And half the people outside if they didn't have no money. So they were saying, hey, Imam Musa, you stole a believer's money. I said, well, all our accounts, first of all, you don't have no business knowing what's in our accounts unless you're the one, which it was, that burglarized our home and our office that had all of our paperwork in it. Accounts, all the names, everything that you can imagine is in an office like, right? That's in your home. They took all that. They even took the tafsir of Quran that you like. So you know who it is, they know what you like. They took that. All the flyers and paperwork, like that we had stacks of it because we did dollar. This is right there in Oakland. They stole all of that. Then they say, I said, well, what happened to all the stuff I sent y'all? I said, I sent y'all, let's say $100,000 worth of stuff. I said, y'all ain't never even said thank you. You talking about you needed money? I said, the account that you have, I said, I fill that account up. I said, you ain't never put not a dime. You know, Oakland never sent 15 cents out here. But if they got behind on taxes, which they did, we went out to Oakland and we paid $50,000. Well, it's technically $48,000. That's in January 2005 on taxes. And they would cook up, Mukhtar and Abdul Malik, they would cook up fines with the city. Last year before last, we paying $22,000 fine. You don't have no job or nothing. And they say, well, Musa, you stealing the money of the believers. I said, so you put some money in an account. Do you have a receipt where you ever put any money in any account? I said, in D.C., we talk about our money in June. Think back, remember the 10% rule when we're trying to get $1 million, when we get 100,000, the 10% rule if we're on the road, we're almost home. Y'all remember that? That means that we talk about money. When one of our brothers is in trouble, and we say, well, we didn't save that brother $25,000. Now that's a lot of money for us, and he's a big shot, so we spin it up right away. We say, well, we got another 24,000, so we give that, and we showed it in here that we had only $581 left. We showed the bank receipt. So the people in Oakland don't know that. Well, the people know, but the Negro Muslims. See, those Muslims out there and those Muslims around here, The Muslims around here is just like one of our friends come by the other day. Yeah, this is ridiculous stuff. So he says, first of all, this person, we love him, but he was in the penitentiary and he called, he said, well, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, don't worry. When you come home, we'll hook you up. So when he come home, this is in a little down slump, but we're able to hustle up $3,000-$4,000, something like that, in a car. You know what I mean? A place to stay with cable, you know what I mean? You don't pay no rent, no nothing. That's pretty good. That's what we'd like to do for all the niggas get out of the penitentiary. But if people keep picking your pocket, you won't be able to help nobody, right? And then you get a big office, and here's what it means. All you gotta do, you and your homeboys, is figure out, there's a prison project, the Masjid around the corner. You know the little Masjid? Fully functional. What you do is, we don't care what computers you need, what office equipment. This will be the prison center. All the Negroes from DC, all around the prison system, which are probably 500,000, no, it's not that many, but it's a lot. You know how DC is the federal prison system. So, since the people have been in prison a long time and they talking that prison talk, I said, well, here's what we'll do. All you gotta do, there's a budget. We'll do the footwork for all the DC, all the people in prison, not just DC, but we from DC. So we're gonna, you know, this is a pretty good thing to want to do. So it goes on, year in, year out. Not one thing, nothing. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So after a while, you know, maybe you get, people be complaining. Well, I'm only getting $200 a week, $300 a month, sometimes $1,000 is fine. So about $800 is a lot more than nothing. I said, me and the dear brother here, Brother Tufel and myself, we don't get no salary. Tufel around here all the time. He don't get no salary. I said, now, $800 a month is a lot of money. If you don't pay no rent, you got free cable, and you don't pay no utilities on nothing, and most of the food you eat is out of the refrigerator, right? Because you cook down here, right? So you got, and you done got a car. When you sell that car, you get a couple of grand or something. So you done had several grand coming out of the penitentiary. And soon as the white man snapped their finger, right, we matter, I can't live off 200. So it's going to get worse than that. I said, we're going to have to cut it down to 100. So we are in strapped. The white man is knocking us over for money. 50,000 here, 50,000 there. You know the names I'm saying on the, it don't register to nobody. But if you ain't never had no job, you got to think about it. If the white man is cutting off all of your money, see what I mean? He cutting off all of your friends and threatening them, and you can't get no telephone call through to nobody. You can call care, right? All you want, and they won't answer the phone. All these people want to help the Muslims, not Masjid al-Islam. They want, and there's people here who, see, if I just made the calls myself, I'd come up here, you wouldn't believe it. That's why we have witnesses. They call, ain't nobody home, they don't live here anymore. And they're right downtown, and you look on TV and they jumping up and down for freedom for the Muslims, but not Imam Musa, not Masjid al-Islam. So our friend comes in, he said, well, they're going to build another masjid around the corner, and they're going to bring Dawood Adib, I don't know if y'all remember, the bitter man himself, 20 years back, Senior Salafi, the bitter man. Them Negroes steal all the Muslim money. That's why you don't hear about it for 20 years. A lot of the Negroes you see popping up in Australia and all of that, if you've been around, you know why they're there. They done stole one of the big Negroes that you see all halal cold as Imam, I ain't gonna mention the name. Well, he was the Imam in New York. And he went over to Saudi Arabia, got a big patch of money, came back, bought a red Cadillac. That was in the old days, that's back in 1881. You know, Negroes were still in the Cadillacs and those. Bought him a red Cadillac. The community kicked him out. Now he shows up in Australia, got videos, CDs on there to everybody. You know Sheikh so-and-so? I said, yeah, I met him up in New York. In 82, the brothers told me he was so-and-so. I said, but it's fine with me. What I'm trying to tell you is, when you choose your destiny, Allah gonna help you. That's what it says. Allah gonna help you from avenues you don't have no idea where it's coming from. The thing you got to do is trust in Allah. So don't let doing good, or doing the right thing hold you up. This is gonna happen. Sure, it's gonna happen. 10 times that stuff may happen. But Allah gonna help you. That's what going to heaven is all about. Trusting in Allah, tawakkul, tafweed, rida, tafweed, delegating your affairs to Allah. Rida is being happy with what Allah gives you. Now that's going to take some development. Because remember, Allah said, the Prophet ﷺ said, when Allah loves someone, He puts them through adversity, puts them through challenge. So if Allah getting you ready to go to paradise, He puts you in some struggles that get you hooked up so you can get a ticket. If you pay for a bus ticket to, what's the name, Baltimore, you know you got to pay for a ticket to paradise. Don't nobody want to pay a ticket. I want a free ride. Paradise. Well, didn't you just pay to get from D.C. to Baltimore? Yeah, but I want to go to the big one for nothing. Right? I don't want to give up nothing. I don't want to trust in nothing. I don't want to have no tussles. I just want to go to heaven. Right? Soul saying everybody want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. Right? Dear believers, good. I'm going to stop in just 30 seconds. When you get up here, it's like it ain't like dope, but it's almost like addiction. You get to run in your mouth and you don't even look at the clock. I'm going to go on and stop. I didn't even touch on what I was going to say at all. You see all these, I ain't touched on none of it. I ain't pulled them up, I ain't looked at them. And people said, well, it's the shaitan got hold to you. I said, no. I said, the shaitan can get next to the Quran. But he can't get in that boy except for his job. His job is, that's the shaitan, that's what he do. Right? But when you're doing good, the shaitan don't have nothing to do with that except unless you done ignored him a long time, and then he'll suggest a few good salts to you till he can get you tricked again. But this is a thing from one of our brothers. Brother Musa, enjoyed the tapes very, very much. Please send more by my mother, your homeboy from the days of struggle. This is Pete O'Neill. Pete O'Neill. You seen the video, Panther in Africa? We was in Africa together. We was in a lot of stuff together. People, they get shocked and surprised, They say, well, you was a gangster. Of course, a gangster did help. And eventually people begin to support and like where people are coming from. Brothers and sisters, them clowns in California, I ain't gonna tell you about the reason I was gonna talk. There's a little account, little stuff that just mess with you. There's so much that it don't mean nothing. That's why I say, to everybody here, if you want to live a good life in this world and the next, start practicing as much as you can. Don't run yourself crazy. Of Quran and Hadith. Try it. Just try to do a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? Don't try to, you don't have to. It's like working out. At first you do a little bit of iron, you know what I mean? And you build up. Don't try to take the whole thing tomorrow night. I'm going to do according to this Koran. Well, please, take your time. But once you get to living this deen, you don't care nothing about what people be talking about. You don't care nothing about no U.S. government. All you do is tell them, Sam, you better get packed up. You're getting ready to leave here, boy. And you mean it. And you know what? He be mad at you. You know why he be mad? Because he didn't listen to you, all of your predictions. And guess what? They be right. So he wants you to predict something good about it. Say, no, Sam, ain't nothing, I'm sorry. You've been a bad boy. History, your number is up. You know, you should surrender. And I know it's hard on you because you're arrogant and you don't have much sense. But it's all over for you, Sam. And they just be sad. But just like Musa, and I'll close with this. Choose your destiny. After you get started, it won't be hard because it says you're asking Allah to make it easy for you. And Allah not going to put you in nothing He don't train you for. So when you get in a fight, you're already trained for the fight. You don't know you trained for it, but you are trained for that fight. See, and I'll really close with this. Remember, we are not like Christians and Jews that believe in this mean old God that be whooping on you all the time, because every prayer we recite, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, right? So Allah is kind, tender, merciful. So you feel that you in the grasp of Allah, a gentle grasp. And Allah ain't going to shake you all upside down and kick you all over the room and not tell you to do this. That's the way we do our kids, but that ain't the way Allah. Because all the time, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah is kind. Allah is tender. Allah is merciful. So why don't we try to help the rest of the world get to know about Allah? And if they do, guess what? We home free. We got a chance to go to paradise. And your knuckleheaded cousin and brother and sister that ain't got a chance right now, right? Living the way they live, tell the truth. They ain't got a chance of beating the system nor getting to heaven. If we do a little bit, we can help people. And at last, we can even help the Americans. The white Americans, they need Islam worse than Negroes now. Now, we'll close eventually. You know, there's more dope fiend white folks than it is. There's always been, but now they're telling them. You notice in the news, oh, we're going to stop sending everybody to prison for dope, and we're going to get into treatment. They ain't had no treatment for niggas. You go straight to the penitentiary, right? First time, forever. But now, who's most of the dope? I mean, when I say most, I mean like Negroes might be 20%, white folks is 70%, 60%, and a few Mexicans run around with a little dope problem. But look at the situation. Oh, we're not going to send them to prison forever anymore. We're going to have treatment. And they act like that they just let niggas out of jail. But they putting all the treatment so the white folks don't go to jail, right? Mm-hmm. All they darling little white children is all dope fiends. Now you think a dope fiend nigga is bad. You ever seen dope fiend white folks? Good God Almighty. And dope fiend white girls, you ain't seen nothing yet. And don't let it be crack and crank. A white girl on crystal meth, good God Almighty. I'm telling you, you ain't never seen no dope fiends till you seen white folks. Niggas is good dope fiends. I'm telling you, I mean, I'm San Francisco, all that stuff come in out there. And don't get them juiced up on this psychedelic juice that they got nowadays. That stuff they cook up in the kitchen and stuff. And bam, niggas start seeing colors and tongues swell up and everything. You know, hey man, we better get this Islam out to the people, or the people is doomed. We have to get Islam out to the people. And I'll close with this finally. By practicing Islam, by acting on what Allah said. Don't be like the little man who do the ties up there, and I will close. These Muslims around here are fake Muslims. They, you know, the Africans that do the ties. They be drinking and eating during Ramadan. I said, those are government Muslims. I said, these little Negroes walking up and down the street. I said, these are government Negro Muslims. You remember the big Negro wave a few years ago? All the little Negroes want to become Muslim. Mm-hmm. And they got their little brown paper sack. And they blowing the smoke in the sack. And they got a 40. I mean, they keep a 40. And a misway. Brushing their teeth, smoking weed. Smoking weed. Up and down the street all the time. And they wasn't coming here because we say, you can't do that here, man. You can't be coming in here with all them glossy eyes and stuff. It said, don't come to prayer with your mind befogged. Your mind is worse than befogged. It's cloudy and you delirious. And the last time at K2, we said, brother said, man, down at K2. And I said, well, you better do it somewhere else. I said, K2, isn't that chemical dope? Yeah, man, but it's got a blast too. I said, I know it's going to blast your butt on out of space somewhere. But not in this masjid. Coming in, got their box under the arm, and they come in, they stealing money, and they go. I said, hold it, man. You got to stop that. You know, try to practice this Islam. So I was telling the guy up there on the corner, those Muslims are government Muslims. What do you mean, brother? I say everybody like Islam in our neighborhood. But if you have all of them little Negroes becoming Muslims and they don't practice no Islam, the people in a generation will begin to think that's what Islam is. Not what we practice. See, everybody in our neighborhood, all the old timers know that the Muslims are good for the black community, right? Muslims ain't never did nothing to the black community. Muslims stand up for the black community, on and on and on. But them little Negroes walking up and down the street are government Muslims. And we told everybody that years ago, those are United States wine drinking, beer drinking, 40 drinking, weed smoking, kufi wearing, stove wearing, government Muslims, right? So I will, brothers and sisters, let's try to practice this Islam. If you do, you got a good destiny. You might get into paradise. And if you just avoid going to the other place, it's a big win. And if we show up, which is on the day of judgment, Allah asks us, what was you doing? Well, I just sitting around. Shoot, I watched every TV program they got. Football, I know all them people. Football, track, and I went to the certain games, I know them. Well, what was you doing about this little book here? You read yours. I used to read that all the time. And you know what you say too is if you read the book, you get blessings for every letter. And just pronouncing a letter. I said, did you read the other stuff? Does people be reading it that don't go no farther than here? What's going to happen to them? You know where you headed, brother? Well, can I go back and try again? I just want to go back for a few weeks, and I'll go back and I'll fix everything up. Do you want to get ready to die? Eventually, I'm going to stop. I'll turn to not a liar, but misrepresent reality. I'll be trying to stop, but there's something I have to say. Do you want to show up in the hospital, ready to leave here, and be wishing you could go back and fix something? Or when you get ready to die, do you want to say, well, I did what I was supposed to do. I went where I was supposed to go. I'd rather stay around, but I ain't got nothing to go fix. I did what I was supposed to do. That's the way we should want to be. Let's not show up at the end of time, like our time. You know you're going to show up there. This is what the hard thing is that people know they're going to die. You're not getting out alive. Nobody here is getting out alive. Right? It's been already described the end point. So when we die, we want to be able to say that we did the best we could with what time we had. And if we call one person to Allah, that's the one that might get us into paradise. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety.